What is going on out there, peeps? I just thought I'd show you guys a picture of my basement and all of the gold I've been stacking. Just kidding. There seems to be, this has been going on for a couple years, so I've been reading a lot of older articles as well as newer ones, trying to really just get more of a general education on what's going on with central banks as far as gold and silver is concerned, and then actual moves by some people, we won't say which, the Republicans, trying to do something about doing away with taxes on precious metals. So it's interesting to see which states are getting involved with this and which ones aren't. Just for the record, the Constitution says that silver and gold is considered money. Therefore, you shouldn't be paying taxes on it. Yeah, well, we know when it comes to unconstitutional laws, the United States is really good at upholding those constitutional laws. Yeah, right. Anyway, speaking of, if you're thinking about buying precious metals, and I know it's crossed your mind with June 28th coming up here shortly, a lot of speculation on where it's going. If you remove the ways and the methodology in which you suppress the values of gold and silver, what happens if you take away those mechanisms? Where does silver and gold go? Nowhere but up. Anyways, the link is down below in the description. First time buyer spending more than $100. Use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, get a free half ounce of silver. For those of you who keep asking for my address, here it is. Just pause and write it down. Hang with Pimpy. You guys know I got my other YouTube channel. And trust me, you're going to want to go over there because there's a lot of great information I'm sure you're not aware of that you probably should. Go support our friends over at Wall Street Silvers. Both their YouTube channel and their Reddit page is down below in the descriptions. So this is interesting. Anyways, this was done a couple years ago where it says gold, it belongs to the people, not the bankers. So Italy moves to seize gold from central banks. It did. It says we need to change, of course, at the Bank of Italy. If we think about what happened in the last years, the gold belongs to the Italians, not the bankers. It's funny how the bankers always end up on the gold. Although they use taxpayer monies to exist, it seems to me any way they're going to benefit, whether through loans or anything else like that, that they would go ahead and give that money back to the people since they use taxpayer dollars to do this. States begin eliminating tax on gold and silver. Yeah, it started to. North Carolina, Cooper has signed a bill into law exempting the sale of purchases of gold, sale and purchase of gold and silver from the state sales taxes. This removes one barrier from buying gold and silver and platinum. It will also help encourage those used to take the first step towards breaking the Federal Reserve's monopoly on money. So we had these two Republicans which introduced a House Bill 434, which is H434. That was a couple years ago. It was 2017 when they first did it. It said the legislation exempts precious metals in various forms from state sales tax, including investment metal bullions. That's what we do. U.S. Mint products, gold, silver. That's us. Investment in coins and non-coin currency. Yep. The House passed H434 on secondary reading, 104 to 8 votes. That was back in 2007 when we were trying to head in that direction of, the gold standard. It then gave final approval on the third reading by a vote. The Senate concurred the vote on June 27th. With the governor's signature, the law went into effect. So this is at the state level, you guys, not at the federal level. In practice, this is what it did. Imagine if you asked a grocery clerk to break a $5 bill and he charged you 35 cents tax. Silly, right? Yeah, if you think about it, that's what it is. So if you ask the guy, hey, can you break this $5? He's like, yeah, I charge you 35 cents, calls it tax. See, they've been getting away with a lot of unconstitutional crap for quite some time. We just allow it. Because people go, oh, it must be right. We assume. Silly, right? After all, you were only exchanging one form of money for another. But that's essentially what North Carolina sales tax on gold and silver did. Or I should say any state that has sales tax, like in Commie, California, on gold and silver. By removing the sales tax on the exchange of gold and silver, North Carolina would treat this species of money instead of commodities. Okay, so they're not commodities. That's how they tax it, is by saying that gold and silver are commodities, not money. That's why they say no longer, even though the Constitution calls it money, they're saying they don't recognize it as money. We ought not to tax money, and that's a good idea. It makes no sense to tax money. That's Ron Paul said that. Ron Paul. So he was supporting a similar bill that passed in Arizona. This represents a small step towards reestablishing gold and silver as legal tenders. Notice how this is reestablishing, but they unconstitutionally took it away. Breaking down the Fed's monopoly on the money. Yeah, go figure how it is that the central banks around the world, all controlled by the Rothschilds, seem to be using taxpayer money to buy up all the gold and precious metals. How is that happening? How are our governments not protecting little us citizens from these evil people? It's amazing what bribing your politicians for several $1 million will get you. The elimination of sales tax not only helps precious metals investors, but effectively lowers the cost of gold and silver. It cracks open the door for people to begin using the sound money in regular business transactions. This would mark an important small step towards currency competition. If sound money gains a foothold in the marketplace against the Federal Reserve fake fiat currency, the people will be able to choose the time-tested stability of gold and silver over the central bank's piece of crap paper. If you're for less government, you want sound money. In other words, we should have went back to the gold standard. It really limits the power of the government. The people who want big government, they don't want sound money. They want to deceive you and commit fraud. They want to print the money. Print the money, and like they're doing now. They want a monopoly. They want to get you conditioned, as our schools have conditioned us, to the point where deficits don't matter. This new North Carolina is part of the broader movement. States are taking the first steps to challenge the Fed across the country. It started, but then stalled. It's what happens when you put in there people who are part of the resistance. You know what I'm talking about, the Democrats. It is sobering to reflect that one of the best ways to get yourself a reputation as a dangerous citizen these days is to go about repeating the very phrase which our founding fathers used in the struggle for independence. That is kind of crazy. The United States Constitution states in Article 1, Section 10, no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt, not fiat crap, not the fake money, not a promissory note from your government, gold and silver. States have simply ignored the constitutional provision for years. It's impossible for the state to return to a constitutional sound money system when it taxes gold and silver as commodities. It's not a commodity. The North Carolina takes a step towards that constitutional requirement, ignored for decades. So Nevada is doing this thing going, what they call going constitutional. I showed you guys in a video on my other website. Basically what the sheriffs have worked with local officials, and it says simply this: they will no longer uphold or support any federal law that violates any of the constitutional law. The constitutional law is the supreme law of the land. Therefore, they will not go after people for freedom of speech or the right to protest or the right of religion. They're not going to go after anybody over firearms, which include not registering them or anything like that. So there are counties starting to take back control little by little. We need to get more active in that area. So this is one of those ways as well. You can see that they are violating our constitutional rights. So, it said North Carolina takes a step towards that constitutional requirement ignored for decades by every state. Such a tactic set the stage to undermine the monopoly of the Federal Reserve by introducing competition into the monetary system. Constitution tender expert Professor William Green said when people in multiple states actually start using gold and silver instead of Federal Reserve notes, It would effectively nullify the Federal Reserve and end the federal government monopoly on money. You guys think NESARA, GESARA? Over time, as residents of the state use both Federal Reserve notes and silver and gold coins, the fact that the coins hold their value more than Federal Reserve notes do not lead to reserve Grissom law effect, where good money, gold and silver, will drive out the bad money, the federal crap. As this happens, a cascade of events will begin to occur, including the flow of real wealth towards the state's treasury, towards the people. All right? So we need to get back into sound money. We need to get back to our Constitution. All right? That's starting to happen in some counties. You got to fight back at the county level. That was one of the tactics that the Soros used, is go at the county level and start taking control of those elections. Smart move. So you guys, again, if you think about buying sound money, go over and check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. Exchange your fiat crappy money and pick up some precious metals. All right? So this is the last time I will show you the basement of my house. God, that'd be awesome. Anyways, that's it for now, you guys. I just wanted to share. Look, there are some steps that were taken and have been taken during 45's administration. We were heading in the right direction, whether you call it NESARA, GESARA or not, because part of NESARA, GESARA talked about going back to the gold standard and really taking the power away from the Federal Reserve. So whether you call it that or not, there were some steps being taken. They were being taken to do what they can to get us back to sound money and to reinstate our republic. That's it for now, you guys. You let me know what you think, man. We need to start getting these local. Start at your counties, you guys. We talk about this. Your communities, your counties. Start getting in the right people to start doing the same thing. On one of the videos I did over there on the other website, I pointed out exactly what was being done. As a matter of fact, I'll find it and I'll show you guys what they've done, so you guys can understand where I'm going with this. One of those ways to reduce the power of the government is to start going back to gold and silver. Get away from the Federal Reserve crappy dollars. Anyways, like I said, that's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. That's it for now. I'm out.